Does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with me controlling this website? What does it have to do with me to say there's a law in place, okay, that's supposed to protect our freedom? It's called the DMCA. The fact of the matter is, if I slander somebody or if I conduct myself illegally on this website, then it's not fucking YouTube's right to fucking decide that I've broken the law. No, it's YouTube's responsibility to allow somebody who has a complaint, okay, and tell them where to go, which is federal court by law, okay? But it's not YouTube who should be doing the goddamn censoring. It's not YouTube that should be making the goddamn standards and then pretending, Google, pretending it gives a fuck about free speech. It's obviously not about free speech. It's about corporate speech. And that's all it's about. If you can't get that simple distinction, you are the asshole I have described you as. You're an idiot. But again, I'm not asking for the reins of control. What I'm asking for is standards, asshole. Every one of my videos talks about imposing a standard. Not Gary's judgment, a standard of judgment.
Do you really believe it would be any different? Measure a person's philosophy by how they live it. And if somebody is living in inequality and hypocrisy...
Again, you've made the accusation of hypocrisy, so show the hypocrisy. Show where I have ever complained about being blocked. Show where I could give a fuck about making comments, snarky, shitty, jackass comments on anybody else's video. Until you can demonstrate that I somehow want a privilege I'm not giving to somebody else, then you have no fucking valid accusation of hypocrisy. There is no hypocrisy in me saying simply, I don't like somebody. I'm going to block them. I would prefer that they would block me also. That's how I would like it. I think they motherfucking suck, and I would feel privileged to be blocked by them motherfucking piece of shit. Alright, so fuck you. That's a bullshit accusation, but that's all you're about, is bullshit accusations. That's why you're blocked, is because you're a fucking bullshit accuser. You're a false fucking witnesser.
That's what their philosophy will be when applied on a grander scale. Probably even worse.
Again, you can't demonstrate or prove any of that. It's about a philosophy being implemented. You mean like the philosophy of fair economics, where I've detailed in detail that it's not going to be Gary making any goddamn decisions, where I've talked about the democracy and I've talked about the instrumentality of creating a mechanism, a system, okay, that creates the fairness so it doesn't allow for any personal discretion. I've always talked about accountability, so nothing can be done in secret. I don't give a fuck that the feds are listening to my phone conversations. I couldn't give a fuck. Okay, yeah, alright, because I believe people should be accountable for what they say. They should be accountable for what they fucking goddamn do.
Look at Buddhism. Buddhism's a nice idea, and you apply it.
Totally fucking relevant. It's not even a nice idea. Suffering sucks, let's have some more. I mean, that's a nice idea? No, that's a retarded idea.
Society and make it theocratic and turn slave-owning torturers.
Stupid fuckwit with this goddamn wind. I'll explain that later. Let's just get this Buddhist crap over with. Totally irrelevant.
I guess the problem for me is people who impose truth on matters.
Oh yeah, that is the problem. That's exactly what all this shit is about, is the fact that you're a subjectivist, relativistic asshole who doesn't really think there's any reality in the universe.
They'll turn their opinions about facts into facts about facts.
No, they'll make arguments that you are incapable of countering with anything rational. All you can do is point your camera at a toilet bowl or some other kind of bullshit. You don't have an argument, so you resort to character assassination, personal attack, and, talking about how somebody's feet are too big or their ego is too big or some other kind of bullshit, because you can't deal with their argument.
That they'll impose their opinions as truth. Isn't that?
Yeah, right. They'll argue their opinions, okay, and you can't defeat the argument, so you're claiming foul. You lost the match, and now you're going back and through the rule book and something, trying to come up with some kind of, well, they're not allowed to beat me on a Sunday if there's, Saturn and Mars are within 500 million miles of each other.
Real problem in this world? People who want to say that whatever they believe is the truth, and so hence anybody else can be censored.
Oh yeah, you define stupid, you define evil, you define dumb, you find waste. All right, that's right. There's absolutely nothing wrong with calling Hitler Hitler. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with identifying who's the liability, pointing your gun at it and shooting it. Nothing at all wrong with doing that.
Tortured, jailed, and tortured for disagreeing.
Well, whatever. I don't. Who's advocating torture? I don't know who's advocating torture, asshole. So again, just more aggrandizement, preposterous exaggeration. Yeah, the fact of the matter is there's a point where you reach in society where you're going to have to sit there and oppress the poor serial killers. Yeah, they won't be able to serial kill anymore. That was part of progress, you know. In the old days, they used to be able to get away with it, but now, no more. We stopped them now.
Isn't that what's going on in every dictatorship in the past?
Again, so it's all about dictatorship. It's not about somebody arguing from consensus. And even if you argued from consensus, you'd find something to complain about again still. You'd say, well, who the hell is that majority to tell me minority? So there's no standard by which the truth can ever redeem itself or recover itself from your singular attitude that you're right and the world is wrong. That's all you're saying, asshole. The world can never define a truth because it disagrees with the grand gratex. Well, fuck you, asshole. Win the fight, and then you won't have to worry about it.
It's not the people that are a problem or the leaders or whatever. It's the imposition of truth that's the issue.
Oh, yeah, see, exactly. Scary stuff. That imposition of logic even, right? Oh, that would be just horrible. You mean you have a whole big argument, you let the rational argument rise to the top through some sort of mechanism of merit, and you just don't believe that can exist, right? Because I guess you're so glued to some sort of genetic theory that everything has to be through some sort of birthright. I mean, maybe you believe in that. Who the fuck knows what you... I mean, there has to be a standard, asshole. Something's going to decide. To let chaos decide, that's what retards do. Retards depend on chaos. Retards look to chaos and say, oh, what do I do now?
Time and again. So, I mean, there's two main things that I really against in this world. Imposition of truth and hypocrisy.
Yeah, imposition of truth and hypocrisy, which means what? Defining hecklers and graffiti artists for the pig slop that they are. Yeah, you're certainly against that.
Mend them, just walls in both of them, for this desperate desire to have control over everything.
Yeah, well, you're just a petty loser. That's all it comes down to. You're just a petty, bitter, resentful loser.
Is there anybody who can really disagree?
You can't even fucking finish a video properly. I mean, Jesus, you just fail all over the place. So let's do a couple of these comments just because some of it was funny. Yeah, so there's a silly little Remy comment, which is just silly. This twit from Uranus. I mean, even these people with these jackass names, even twit from Uranus. I mean, why should people even bother with some jackass with this name? Anybody's comments are always just crap. Just always crap. I mean, everybody should have this asshole blocked. He doesn't say anything, and he always says it in some kind. Look at the way this is formatted. I mean, it's like, yeah, you know, all these lines, because he's, you know, and it's all in capital letters. I mean, it's just somebody saying, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. No one should pay attention to you. You're an idiot. This guy, Beyond Written Words. Another guy, just snarky, puke comments all over the fucking internet. If his comments were public and you read them, he is just a spammer for his phantasmagorical bullshit philosophy, and that's all he is. He's just a spammer. All right. So yeah, he's talking about the audio problem here, and so that gets to Barklord. And Gratex is complaining that he's tried all kinds of things. Look, you just put a Band-Aid over the microphone, okay? And on the minnows, they're a little bit of a bitch, but you know, the old version, it has just the one mic. But the new version has two, so you got to put a Band-Aid over each one. But you get these little kid Band-Aids, and they work really good. They're small. You can even cut it and make it fit, sideways or some other way so it's not too visible. But they work. So do that, and then tell me you've tried everything. So I don't think you've tried everything. Tape isn't gonna, tape isn't gonna work. It has its liabilities. But whatever you use, you just have to make sure the wind can't get under it. But yeah, it's really solvable. So this is just kind of bullshit to say you've tried everything. Bullshit. Try harder. And then, Barklord was talking about, I guess he has one of the newer flips, and the sizes of the files are too big, and so he wanted to know if there was a free program. I use this thing called Super. 2010, so it's eWrite Soft. eWrite Soft is the company, I guess, but it's just called Super, and it's really good. I mean, you can, you're gonna you have to learn how to use it. I mean, but you just drop a file in there, and then you can just change it to, an AVI or some other format, and you can change the bit rate and all that kind of control all that shit, so you can. You can cut the frame rate in half or do something else to reduce the size. And it's fairly quick. And, yeah, so that's what I use. I use another program just for hacking off, like you can't use, my editing software doesn't like MP4s. So this program will just hack the MP4 and turn it back into an AVI. And it does that really quickly. And it's called MP4 Cam to AVI. Easy converter. Yeah. So anyway, there's lots of, you gotta, but it takes time to figure out how to exactly get things work right for you. But yeah, it is true. I mean, those flip files are just gigantic, and the flip software does kind of suck when it comes to creating smaller versions. So you can try their settings. I mean, I haven't tried their email setting or some other setting, and maybe that would work. So you could just use their convert to an email or some kind of setting like that. But yeah, their software isn't very customizable. It's made for too big an idiot. And my video is finished rendering. Good. Alright, so I'll be uploading a couple of videos. Anyway, yeah. So sorry, this is preposterously long, and it takes somebody desperate to. Well, there is, people should be desperate, because actually the videos around have been just really shit. Nobody's making any good videos. Fred is kind of missing in action a little bit, and the Modern Mystic has given up. Just doing his economic shit again. Even Professor Anton hasn't made any videos. He always gets on one of my recommended lists, which pisses me off a bit. But whatever. Let's see if I have anything. Yeah, subscriptions. Yeah, so I mean the videos just really, there's not great stuff here. Nope, not great stuff. Yeah, Icy's back. But anyway. So till next time.